morning, everybody. This is something I've been wanting to get going for a while, and it's going to be a series. And I just like to have everybody grab something warm to drink, and grab some chisels and a pencil, and work along with me. We're going to call this series "Coffee and Carving." I have my coffee ready, and I have my chisels ready, and I have the design that we're going to do today. So grab yourself something warm, and I'll set up the what we're going to carve, and let's get going. All right, guys, I have this set up, and I know this looks weird, but what I'm gonna you could see it in the thumbnail, of this video. I want to show you guys how to carve different kinds of basket weave, because I just have a ball with this sort of thing, and it just goes so well with the flowers and things that I carve. So I know this looks messy, but this is important, and I wanted to spare you guys, watching me drill 500 holes here. So what you do is you just start out with draw a grid. This is pretty small. This is 3/16 squares, and I just drew a few of them here. And then in the intersection of each square, I just find something sharp, a scratch awl or whatever, and just poke you a little pilot hole here. It doesn't have to be too much, but just enough so your drill can find it. You don't mess up too bad. I like I said, I know this looks a little weird, but these holes are what really sell this basket weave as being real. I mean it's real, but it's you know what I mean. Let me get these poked in here. There. And now my drill is almost dead, but this is such a small bit. This is a 16th inch bit. It'll get the job done. You want to keep these pretty accurate. Don't drift off your corners, because you'll see why in just a second here. I'm not going too deep either. I guess if you need to, you could always take them a little deeper to sell it, but they don't have to be too deep. Carving is just fun to begin with, and when you learn something like this and how to do it, and there's of course millions of different kind, not millions, but there's different kinds of basket weave, wicker designs, and it's so fun to learn how to carve them. And like I said, I just have a ball with it. The very first, well, I think it was the second guitar I ever carved for Gibson. I already worked for them, but I wasn't their artist. And I did a couple of guitars, and the second one was some flowers, some roses and things, and it was just kind of a little section of the guitar down here, and I was teaching myself how to carve. I didn't know a whole lot, and I was learning as I went, and I decided to try carving some basket weave for the background, and it just turned out, it just sold the guitar look, and I was just so pleased, and I've just been in love with it ever since. So um, you have your grid now, and you have your little holes. I'm gonna try and clean a little bit of that off of here, just so we can see what we're doing. Now stick with me, because this is really where it starts to get fun. In between each of these holes, now I'm going to use my little sharper pencil. On the inside of these holes, every other hole I'm going to the inside here. It's almost fun to just draw these, and then when you carve it, it just takes it to a whole nother level. Now going this way, see, you'll be inside every other one like that. You don't really even have to draw them with the pencil. You could do it with a chisel. I had to find the one I wanted here. I'm gonna do this so you can see. This one might be just a touch wide. I'm putting the flat part towards the part that I want to save. This part's going this way are going to be the bands, running this way, and the ones going this way they're going down underneath of here. So that's going to get carved down a bit anyway. So I'm putting the flat part towards the bands. I wouldn't push too terribly hard right now. Right now, you don't want to bust one of those out of there. They're pretty tiny. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll finish these out doing that, and we'll just speed it up. You can watch me do it, but at a faster rate, and then we'll come back and I'll explain more when I get that done. Okay. Okay, we got that done, and now's a good time to have a sip of that coffee. I had to warm mine up because I messed around long enough. It kind of got cold on me. So have a sip of that coffee, and you can see where we're going with this thing. And the next part's where it really is going to start to shine for us. We're going to turn this into 3D. I mean, it already looks. The basket weave just automatically looks cool. I just love drawing and carving these things. All right, that 1/4 inch chisel worked pretty well. You don't want to overshoot and nip into these bands, that are going this way if you can. But that 1/4 inch chisel with the 3/16 squares that I drew, the 1/4 inch was just right when you factor in the holes. So let's see here. I'm gonna grab a 3-3, and that's nearly flat, but it's got a little bit of a sweep to it. And let's carve a few of these so we can kind of see where we're going. Just on these ends now. See, these are the ones that are going underneath. And again, like I said, don't with that 1/4 inch chisel. I wasn't pushing too hard because you don't want to break one of these bands off accidentally, or that's just a whole nother headache. And one thing I will not do on my guitars that I'm doing for work is I won't glue apart. I have to be careful. I have to not break something off. And if something did flake off, a pedal of a guitar or something, I mean, it would just be such a tiny little flake. You just carve a little deeper, tip the flower or whatever, but I won't glue a piece on. That just something that personally I just don't want to do. Okay, now each one of these that's going underneath, kind of, I mean, it depends on how fast you want to go. This certainly, carving is relaxing. It's fun. You're not racing anybody. Um, so, but if you kind of get the pattern here, it does help it be a little less, some of the parts a little less monotonous, because there we go. Each one of these bands that's going underneath this direction, I'm gonna come and carve. Get that very deep, did I? There. You can definitely start to see it. It gets exciting because you can just start to see it come out, Um, man, I just don't think there's anything as satisfying as taking a chisel and if I'd shut up, you could hear it. You can hear your chisels, keep them nice and sharp, and you can just hear them. Can you hear that? Listen. You can hear it click. I'm not pushing very hard, but you can hear it click. You can hear it cut and then click as it hits against that shoulder of where I cut down in with that 1/4 inch chisel. And I swear you can just, it's just relaxing and fun. You take a sip of your coffee and listen to that sharp chisel cut, and it is so satisfying. And I mean, of course, this is just a demonstration, but I mean, imagine if you're carving something for yourself or someone you love, and you can see it come out, and man, very, very gratifying. course, I'm just working on the bands that are going this direction right now. We'll cut those other ones in a minute. These normally, if I was you, I'd flip that around, but I'm not gonna do it. I'll just carve them upside down, kind of reach around here, but I mean, you guys, if you want to, you can speed your video up, and this one's going this way. I'm not gonna speed it up for you. Some of you might want to watch this part. It's just, like I said, it's very satisfying watching it come out of there, and you can certainly speed it up if you want to. I forgive you. Boy, it's important when you're cutting down in those, like I was doing with the 1/4-inch chisel. Pay attention to your design, to your basket weave, because if you go on the wrong side of the circle that you drilled, I mean, you can certainly, it'll ruin it for you. If I would have messed up, and see, this band's going this way, if I would have messed up and cut on this side of the circle, it's kind of ruined. So on that part, just pay attention. My gosh, this is exciting for me to show you guys. I so bad want to get some people carving along with me. Like I said, I have just the most fun thing planned where we can kind of do a larger carving. You can all get a piece of wood, and each week we can together, I'll show you the next part, and you can carve along with me, but you'll have all week to take your time and carve, and then we'll get together the next week and we'll go to the next piece. It should just be so fun. Now, I suppose if I had the right size chisel, I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared to use this 1/4-inch because I'm afraid I'll overshoot and catch those bands. And I don't know. I'm just a little more cautious in that. I suppose if you planned your bands out right for your chisel sizes, you could make that work. But I don't know. I don't want to overshoot and cut into I don't want to overshoot and cut into this part of the band. So I'm just using this little one. It's an 1/8 inch thing, and you can kind of see these little, the facets between, but don't worry about that. I mean, in a way, it makes it look real, but I'll probably clean it up, and I'll show you how here in a little bit. But maybe you already know how if you've been following along with my videos, I kind of show some of that stuff, but I don't know, this coffee and carving, it's just a little more intimate, and I feel like we're kind of doing it together, and if you're not a carver and you just want to watch and listen to me ramble and tell stories, I have a pretty interesting life at working for Gibson. I'm very, very fortunate, and they're very good to me, and I I love what I get to go to work and do every day, and carve and paint and wood burn and all the things that I get to do. Um, and in a way, this is going to be fun for me too. I'm hoping that we begin interacting a little bit, and you guys, maybe you have something that you do that I'm not doing, and you can, my gosh, I certainly don't know everything. I'd love to get some tips, or man, it'd be cool if you did this, I'd give it a try. We'll learn together. Um, at work, I can do whatever I want on the metal parts of the guitar, or on the different hardware pieces, or the plastics and stuff, and so I get a good chance to engrave and inlay and just do all this fun stuff, and I'd love to have you guys along with me and show. And like I said, I know what I know, and I want to show you guys, but I don't know everything. I'd love to learn something from all of you. That's what I want this channel to be about, and certainly not just wood carving. Uh, like I said, metalwork. My gosh, I got a section on about this Fordham rotary tool, because it's a little more detail tool than my Dremel. Dremel has its place for sure, but I've been carving these eggs, and I didn't know how to carve an eggshell. I'd never done it before. I'm just bought this tool, and I think I can use it to do some neat stuff. And I thought, man, maybe you guys would like to follow along. Maybe one of you guys have carved some eggshells, and a little Fabergé egg type of thing, and maybe you tell me what I'm doing wrong, or tell me something that you've learned that's helped you. I'd love to hear that. Okay, we've almost got the band. All my bands are going north and south here. We're not that far from being done. It'll happen fast when it happens. Okay, let's do some east and west ones here. And these are little bands. You don't want to go clear out to the middle center of that, because those bands are like weaving in and out of each other. So some of that is so that this one can go underneath. This has to be up, so. And I've also found depth isn't necessarily what you want on these. I mean, you experiment around a little bit to see, but the deeper you go, it almost doesn't look quite as real. because it starts making your little bands look kind of thick. And I don't know, wicker and all that. I mean, it's a thin band of stuff. It's not real thick, so I don't know. It just doesn't look quite as real if you go too deep with this stuff. I've noticed it doesn't. For me, it doesn't help the effect at all. Um, and I know it looks a little square and clunky right now, but when we get this thing smoothed up a little bit here, it it'll come out, and it is, each step's kind of exciting, especially if you know what's coming. That one's going underneath this one. Don't forget to pause and look at your work and have a sip of that coffee. We're not racing anybody. This is supposed to be relaxing and fun. We're almost to the next step. I gotta don't get in a hurry and chisel out the wrong one. You'll be sad about that. I hope I haven't done it talking here, not paying attention. You just want to chisel the one that's going underneath of the next one. Mess up and chisel that off. Again, that'll make you sad. We don't need any sad people. It's happy. It's happy stuff. I sure hope you can hear me. If this thing takes off, I promise I'll get a little bit better mic and stuff. I'm hoping that this works good enough to hear what I'm saying. I'm going to carve upside down on this. I don't think I'd recommend. I don't want it to take forever here, but we're almost done. Kitty back there, not happy. Wants to get in the closet. I don't know what's in there that's so exciting. All right, let's see. the size of your holes that you do. I used an 1/8" bit here, but the size of your holes, experiment around with that a little bit too. I mean, you wouldn't have to even drill. You could use just a scratch awl or something and jam it down in there and make your holes. I've certainly done that, and it looks good. But the smaller your holes, the closer your bands are going to be, and it looks a little square, instead of. I think those holes are really what sell this thing as looking like real basket weave. And so I want to go a little bit big, but it's kind of an experiment on what you want. If you watch the video, I try to put some stuff up that I've done, and the last one I did was called Country Wildflowers, and it's a guitar, and I did a matching amp, and I used some of this as accents. And if you want to see how I incorporate that into my work, I mean, check that out. It's the Country Wildflowers. It's just a video short showing you the guitar. I'll post the amp too here in just a little bit, but to kind of just see what a neat, interesting twist this lattice work can do for your work. Almost got it here. Honestly, if I wasn't carving for you guys and just in the interest of time and everything, I'd be going slow. I love carving. I enjoy this process. I'm not in any rush to get through it. It's not the final product necessarily. It's the journey. It's the journey on this. That is so fun. I hope you guys do that. Enjoy it. Honestly, the joy in it shows in your work. I always say I hope it shows in mine, because there is joy in everything I create for work. I love what I am allowed to do for making a living, and why wouldn't I be happy, Work with fantastic people. And very, very talented people working there. Building guitars is definitely an art form as well. Man, it's easier to just skip one. You guys didn't tell me I skipped this one. And we'll get it. There we go. All right, one more. Gotta go west here. I guess that'd be east, wouldn't it? You get to this point, like I said, you can see the little facets and stuff in there, but at this point, you can just see what you're going for. My gosh. Okay. Now, they're starting to look like they go, you know, under each other and over each other. I'm gonna, hopefully this is, yeah. Let's smooth these up a little bit. It's all, from here, it's a little bit what you want it to look like, because the deeper you go, the more that this has to go down to get underneath of this next one. And like I said, my bands, I don't envision them being very deep, each little band of wicker. They're thin little things, and so they don't got to go down too far, dive down to get underneath of that next one. I mean, how fun is this to, when you start smoothing this out? And this is just a little diamond file. We talked about that in one of the videos too. It's just a little diamond file to smooth it out. You could do it with sandpaper or whatever. I think this is easier. I'm gonna do a few of these here. I might speed it up here in a moment for it so you don't have to watch all of this, but I want you to see the effect and how exciting it is. I'm excited. I love this stuff. And also this, I mean, this is just one type of basket weave. My gosh, there's all kinds of wicker and stuff. This actually isn't that first guitar I talked about doing. This isn't the style that I did. I'll probably post that guitar at some point too, some pictures of it for you guys. My gosh, there's a lot of different styles of wicker and basket weave and stuff, and we might explore some of those. I haven't carved all of the styles. Sometimes I'll look at a picture or something, or you know, and I'm like, oh man, that'd be fun to carve. And I'll take a piece of scrap wood and learn how to carve it. Okay, what I'm going to do now is go ahead and continue doing this down here and clean this up a little bit, and then I'll come back and we'll kind of go over some stuff together. Let me finish what I'm doing here. Okay, I'm back, and I've smooth these up a little. I will say that while I was doing it, I learned, you know, when we cut away, I was going like this. In doing it, I learned if I put my little file in there and kind of round it, like it was just a little easier to make those look like they're coming around and up and under the next one. Just something that I just kind of learned as I went here. I suppose if I was doing this for work or way more than demonstration, I'd probably go around each one. I'd go from this side, and then I'd come around and go from this side and even everything up. And one of the other things that I want to say is your little holes need to be cleaned out now. However you got to do it, I'm just using something sharp, but get that stuff out of those holes, and it'll look so much better. Blow it out, whatever you got to do to get that stuff, all them little things out, because those holes are really what, like I said, that just what sells this thing to look like you've really wove wood down in there, you know. You can kind of see how that's looking a little bit better already. I've got this really zoomed in, so I mean you can see every little thing. I've got it zoomed in so far, but I think that every little thing, little flaw, you know, but I think that's okay. You guys understand that this is just to show you how to do it. When we get to the coffee and carving, where we're working together, doing the weekly piece of it like that, we'll take our time and we'll get it really nice. But I'm not going to take forever and on these little tutorials, you know, and show you. But surely, I hope on the camera you can see that what a difference that's making, just getting the holes cleaned up from this side to this side. To me, it makes all the difference in the world. And depending on how detail-oriented you want to be, and how particular you are, I mean, there are certainly a lot of things you can do to make this look even better. But when I've got the holes cleaned out here, you're going to be able to see what I'm talking about here. These strips of wood that are weaving in and out of each other, you don't really want them to be wider looking than the holes. If that makes sense, these holes, when I drew it, you want to be, and use the chisel, you want to be just to the inside of that hole. If it's wider, that kind of gives it away that it's not real. You know, it comes out of the hole here. I'm looking for an example. I don't have a good example here, but this band should be the same width as the very inside of that hole. I probably, if I was really gonna clean this up, I would probably take a chisel now and really take my time and get it just inside of each one of those holes. I'm not gonna do it for each one of them, but I definitely, I would definitely do that. I just, it's all the little things right now that are going to sell this as looking like you've really wound that wicker. You know, it's actually little strips of wood that you've woven. Isn't that what we're after anyways? Just all this little cleanup stuff to me makes all the difference in the world. See, you don't want fuzzy edges and all that. Almost made a mistake. I think that pretty well shows what we're trying to do here for this video. But if you get it like this, now you guys know what to do. You can take your time and clean all that up. The edges, you know, you might even want these bands that are going this way. You might even want them just a little bit round, you know? Just a little bit. You experiment around and see what you like, but whatever makes it look real to you, that's what you're after. But hopefully that looks a little bit real. I don't know. This particular type of basket weave, I mean, it looks a little bit square in that. We'll do another one. Man, it's easy when you're cutting these off, especially if I get talking to you guys. I've forgot half of those. That one I had completely forgot to cut out. I'm sure you guys caught it and you're just too polite to say. Anyway, I'll go ahead and call this a wrap for this week. You guys practice this, and I'll if you like it, and I'll teach you some other kinds of basket weave. It's all looks completely different. It's all fun, and that's what we're here to do. Have fun, learn a little bit. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and like and subscribe and all that. And I'll meet you back for the next coffee and carving, and I'll figure out what we want to learn together. But for now, I'm gonna finish my coffee, and you guys have a good day, and hopefully practice what we learn. We'll catch you on the next one.